Rachel's husband and her family are dealing with a lot emotionally and legally. They tell me they have obtained a lawyer, but we are not naming the doctor right now because no legal action has been taken yet.
Here, I'll save you the trouble. His name is Dr. Tork. Tork, T-O-R-K. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for stopping by. If you're someone that is returning, thank you for coming back. Today's video is going to cover a tragic story that's happening out in Cincinnati right now, and it involves a woman by the name of Rachel Tussey. She has been documenting her journey on TikTok of getting a tummy tuck. Now, normally things like this are not my wheelhouse. I don't really care too much about plastic surgery. I first heard of this story when I was watching the news, because that's where I get most of my stuff from you guys can see. If you go back and you watch all my stuff, I usually use news broadcasts. And she was on here because she had been documenting her tummy tuck journey for a while now. I've not watched all the videos, but for a while now. And she settled on a doctor named Dr. Tork, who looks like this. Dr. Tork is a plastic surgeon in Cincinnati, and he performed the tummy tuck surgery on her. And she had videos documenting what she thought about appointments. She had videos about how she even came to the conclusion to let this guy do it. And before I even get into what this video is about, I do want to say that this doctor's Google rating is 4.9. And I do believe the last review left right here was from Rachel. So if you want to go read it, you can. But I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a bad doctor because I don't know. This video is strictly about how she came to the conclusion to use this doctor, what happened, and everything wrong with the medical system based on something like this. Now, on her TikTok, when you go there, you'll see that her husband uploaded the latest video. Her TikTok is right here. This is her handle. If you want to go see it and go see all the videos that are uploaded to it, go on to Bad Self. But we're only looking at the video of the husband because he uploads a video and he describes a very disturbing post-op. At least it's disturbing to me, and I will tell you why, but we're going to watch it. Now, I am going to start this video maybe like 2 or 3 minutes into him talking, because really, he talks at the very beginning about how he was waiting in the parking lot for her. The doctor, they called him and told him that the surgery was over. He comes in, talks to the doctor. The doctor says that everything's okay. And then really the doctor leaves, like just leaves. He goes home. And I have thoughts about that too, and I will get into that later. But he leaves. And he's sitting there, and the husband, he says that he notices that like the facility looks locked down, meaning there's no doctors there. The doctor that did the surgery left, but there doesn't seem to be anyone else there, just nurses and cleaning crew. Red flag number one to me. I just don't understand having a patient freshly out of surgery and then you going home and there's no doctor there to tend to her needs. And that's where we're going to start with this video. If you want to see the full video, I will put the TikTok link in the description of this video, but that's where we're going to start.
As he left, I could hear Rachel talking in the background, asking for me. So I went to the room. Well, on my way to the room, I noticed there was nobody else in the facility. It was locked down. It was closed. There was a cleaning crew of, I think, 2 people sweeping the hallway. And when I stepped in the room, there was one nurse in there with Rachel. And then there was another nurse that had stepped in, but she was going back and forth throughout in and out of the door. So anyway, Rachel could hear me talk, so she heard my voice. I stepped around to the side of the bed and touched her arm, and she knew it was me touching her. Well, next thing you know, the one girl that was outside the room walked in and asked her, said, how's your pain? Rachel kind of mumbled. Well, the girl said, oh, I was just checking because a few minutes ago I gave you your pain med, which was 0.5 Dilaudid and 150 fentanyl. Well, me and the other nurse is talking because Rachel had told them when she met me at what age, so just we're bullshitting. Well, as we're doing that, next thing you know, I look down and her face is off color. I said, Rachel, and she didn't answer. Well, the one nurse in the room said, Rachel, no answer. I got down in her ear and hollered Rachel a couple times, no answer. Next thing you know, the nurse starts with the knuckles to the sternum. But it was kind of weird to me because didn't seem like much sense of urgency with her lips being blue. Then she reached and grabbed the bag. Well, she put the bag on her and pumped it once or twice. The bag wasn't sealed around her face. And then she walked away and grabbed some Narcan, came back, hit her with Narcan, put the mask back on her face again, and this time opened her mouth and pumped 2 or 3 times, and then walked away again as her head rolled over. So the next time she come back, I jumped around there and held Rachel's head up so that she could get it sealed and pumped once or twice. As I'm telling her, I don't know what to do here. This is your all's, trade. I'm just a dumb construction worker. But I could tell something was wrong, but there was no sense of urgency. The other girl she had hollered at that was in the hallway, she had told her to call Dr. Tork and get him back here.
This is something that I have a problem with, again, red flag number 2. And it kind of goes with the first red flag, the doctor leaving and no other doctor being in the facility. It sounds like, I don't know if there was, he's making it sound like there isn't one. And if that's true, there's no other doctor in the facility to monitor this patient that just came out of surgery. And then not only that, but your nursing staff, according to her husband, there doesn't seem to be a sense of urgency with the CPR. Like he said, like the knuckles to the sternum, just trying to get her to wake up or to move. He said there didn't seem to be a lot of sense of urgency. That's red flag number 2. You have a patient here whose lips are turning purple. She's not responding to anybody, especially her husband. I can tell you, for me, if I was going to respond to anybody in the room, any person, it would be my husband. If my husband was saying my name, I would at least look at him, move my eyes, say something. And the fact that she's not responding to her husband tells you that something is actually wrong. And for there to be zero sense of urgency is a problem. That's a problem with the nursing staff. That's not necessarily a problem on the doctor, but whoever that nurse was, that's a problem for me. Oh, I'd also like to point out, he should not have had to get up to hold her head. I get doing it like in the moment because like you're trying to save like your spouse, your loved one. So he just reacted. And quite honestly, I would have done the same. But why was there no sense of urgency from the nurse to find another medical staff to come in and help her? And I'm not trying to dog nurses. I know nursing is hard, but I can also just speak from a teacher standpoint. If there's an emergency in my room, I don't care if and I've had medical emergencies and I've had like fight emergencies. I've had almost any emergency you think of. Like seriously, I have. I've had students that have had seizures in my room, things like that. Things like that happen. I have a plan in place. There's certain things I cannot do, but there's certain things that I can. So my job is to roll the student over. They need to be on their side. I need to make sure their tongue is not blocking their airway. There's things I know I need to do. There's a procedure in place. So the fact that it also, not only was the doctor not there and the nurse didn't really seem to have any sense of urgency and the CPR didn't even sound like it was going correctly, there also just didn't seem to be a plan in place in case something like this did happen. I get that this is probably their wheelhouse. This is their thing. They do this all the time. And medical emergencies like this probably don't happen a lot in plastic surgery. They probably just don't. They probably don't. You're probably going to run into more medical emergencies like for brain surgery or like heart surgery, something like that, than you are a tummy tuck. You just are. But they always tell you in medical procedures that anything can happen. They even told me this like when I got my wisdom tooth pulled out. Anything can happen. Anything can go wrong. You never know. But it seems like they were counting really hard on nothing going wrong. And so now something did go wrong and their facility is getting exposed for not having the proper procedures in place. That's a problem. It's just a problem for me. I don't know if it's a problem for you. It is for me. They should have had some type of procedure in place.
Dr. Tork was on his way back. There was no response from the Narcan. When Tork came in, or when the plastic surgeon came in, he assessed the situation and made sure told him to call 911. And the nurse hit Rachel with another dose of Narcan with it not doing anything. So ambulance rushed, picked us up at the surgery center, brought us to Bethesda North, and brought us to Bethesda North, and this is what we're looking at. She was without oxygen for over 6 minutes, supposedly. I don't know how that happens when you've got a crew that was supposed to be taking care of her. Was told last night that she's brain dead. I've got a couple days to make a decision. To me, it looks like incompetence. If the doctor would have been there, this wouldn't have happened, or if we'd have been at a hospital, it wouldn't have happened. She was administered too much medicine, 0.5 Dilaudid on top of 150 fentanyl is way too much for somebody that is so minute amount, that is so sensitive to drugs. Somebody dropped the ball here. But I will tell you one thing, where they brought us, these people are absolutely freaking amazing. They have been amazing with my wife, but it still doesn't change the fact that somebody dropped the ball and killed my wife. I'm still out all the money for the surgery.
Brain damage sets in pretty fast. I believe it's 2 to 3 minutes. Permanent brain damage, I believe, is between 5 to 6. So if she was out without oxygen up to 6 minutes, it's very possible she's brain dead, or the brain damage is so severe that she will never be the same again. How in the happy hell does this happen when you have medical professionals there? Like, I know that nurses are not doctors, but a nurse should know how to do CPR at the very least. This goes back to what I was saying. CPR needs to be done. You need to know how to do it properly, or the equipment that you have to do it. You need to know how to use it properly. And it sounds like this nurse didn't. And then it didn't sound like there were any procedures in place in case something did go wrong. There was no medical doctor there in case something went wrong. He went home. And again, not necessarily saying that the doctor shouldn't be allowed to go home. It's just there should be another one there in case something goes wrong. Again, it just seems like it's just a waterfall of just incompetence from this facility. I'm not saying stupidity. I do mean incompetence. These are basic things. When you do something that serves the public in a way that could harm someone, and surgery absolutely can harm someone. And they know it, because if they didn't, they wouldn't make you sign 1.5 million papers saying we're not liable if we do something stupid like this, such as doing surgery on somebody and then not having a doctor there post-op because I got to go home. Like, you need to have procedures in place. You have to have procedures in place. Every place that is responsible for somebody else has some type of procedure in place. Even schools, something as minute. I don't want to say minute. Something that's not as serious as, say, like a fire drill. Fire drills are nowhere near as serious as a surgery. But there's a procedure that I had to follow. When there's a fire drill, the fire alarm goes off. My students have to line up at the door. There's a designated spot outside that we have to go to. I had to watch all the kids come down. When we go downstairs, by the time we get to the parking lot, wherever it is, I had to take count of all my students, which is important. Why it's important for me to take attendance of the day. I had to say all of their names. I can't count my line. I say all of their names. And if I don't have someone, I have to report to the principal. They got to find this kid. Did you go off school property? Are you still in the building? Where are you? And this is a fire drill. And then we still stay outside and we have to be quiet. The reason you have to be quiet because if there's any instructions, administrators have to give everyone, all the kids in the building, not just my class, not just the teachers, but everyone in the building. They need to be able to communicate that to you. See, that is a procedure, a process that we had to follow for every fire drill. We do one once a month. There's a procedure for it. There was no procedure in case something goes wrong with a patient post-op. That's crazy to me. That makes no sense. And to me, that's what I want to know about. Why was there no procedure? There was none. There just wasn't one. And because there wasn't one, this young lady is now in hospice. Now, he doesn't say that in this video. But the news broadcast that featured this video did an update saying that he did take her off life support and she is in hospice. That is of Sunday, March 8th. Yeah, today's the 8th. That's of today, of me filming this video. Now, by the time I post this, it might be different. But as of today, that's where we're standing. Now, there's not really much left to the video. I know that he said that they have retained a lawyer, which they should have. I know I would have. And that he's still stuck with the bill. That's the kicker. That is the kicker. And that's why it's important to read documents before you sign them. And this won't be news to anybody that's an American. But if you are not American, this might be news to you. But if a procedure goes wrong, if whether it's elective or not, whether it's something that you have to have, doesn't matter. If a procedure goes wrong, you still have to pay for it. You still have to pay for it. So this family is now going to have to pay for this tummy tuck gone wrong, and now she may not live, or if she does, she won't be the same person again. And a lot of this probably could have been prevented if there was a doctor on hand. That's like, I just can't understand that. And this is the problem with the American healthcare system, right? When people talk about Luigi Mangione, and don't get me wrong, I still don't agree with what that dude did over a year ago. Said it in my first video, said it in the second video. I'm gonna say it now. He should not have did what he did to the CEO of United Healthcare. Don't agree with it, period. But when he did what he did, a lot of people started coming out of the woodwork talking about all these procedures that they had to pay for, hitting costs and fees, and then the issue still wasn't fixed, or if it was fixed, they were left with some other permanent damage, like with Rachel. All she wanted was a tummy tuck, and even the doctor put it in this perspective. Even the doctor thought it was so routine that he didn't need to be there. He must have thought that, because he left and then didn't have another doctor there in place in case something went wrong. And the other reason there couldn't have been another doctor there, because you'll notice that he says in the video that the husband says in the video, the nurse called for another nurse. The nurse did not call for a doctor. Oh, well, no, wait, yes, they did. They called for the doctor that left. So if there was another doctor somewhere in the facility, I would think they would have called that one. This is just a messed up story in general. I'm not demonizing anyone that does plastic surgery. It's just really sad that this was something she was finally going to do for herself, especially if you're a mom. And I normally don't talk about the hardships of being a mother. I have 2 kids. I have one that's 2.5 and another that's a year old. There's not a lot of time in the day for us to do stuff for ourselves. There just isn't. Especially if you're a single mom. I am not. I'm married. And both my kids, yes, before you ask, both my kids belong to my husband. But unless really my husband or someone like my family members, like my mom or my cousin, watches my kids, I don't get time to myself. I just don't. My husband gives me as much time to myself as I need. Like for me, I'm trying to do more like an exercise routine. So he watches the kids so I can go get my steps in for the day or go work out. He's a good dad and a good partner. But a lot of women don't have somebody like that. And so when your kids are finally old enough to do something on their own, which for me probably won't be for another 10 years. I got to factor in my youngest. Probably won't be for another 10 years. That's when you start doing things for yourself. She says in one of her videos that she's 47, and this is something she's doing for herself to make herself feel good. And because she wanted to do this, she did all this research all this time, and she was even documenting it for other women to look at. Like, hey, these are some of the questions you should ask. These are some of the things I look for. These are costs associated with blah blah blah. She did all of that for all these other women, but also trying to do something for herself. And because this staff could not get it together, because this facility didn't have the right processes, because this doctor decided to leave and not have another doctor in place to watch her, she is now in hospice. And don't forget, she still has to pay for it too. Yeah, that's American healthcare for you. But I'd like to know your thoughts. Do you think the doctor should be held liable? Do you think the nurses should be held liable? Do you think there was anything this facility should have done? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.
Okay, here it is. It's my turn. I feel a big range of emotions, but mostly it is absolutely excitement and gratitude. My husband's here. I've got a great support team, and I'm really looking forward to this next chapter. If you're a praying person, I will absolutely take your prayers. I'm getting closer. They're getting ready to do my IVs, and they're asking all the questions, and I'm starting to get so many incredible messages from you guys. Please pray. I know it's going to be great, and I've waited a really long time for this. I'm in good hands. I know God's got my back, and let's do this.